Hey guys, Rorius here. Welcome to the Stanley Parable. This is a game that I've played a long time ago. I haven't got around to playing it for the channel. I've been meaning to play it for some time for the channel. I was a little bit nervous about playing it because of how narrator heavy it was, but having played the beginner's guide and having enjoyed that experience, yeah, I'm keen to give this a try for the channel. I remember very little of this game, despite loving this game. You know, I don't remember how many endings there are, how many different options there are for pathways and things like that. So I'm just gonna start doing stuff and see where I can go. If there are specific endings or specific paths you want me to take for further episodes, let me know. For now, I'm just gonna go into it and just do some stuff. I'm gonna go for the main ending, the like initial first ending first, and then yeah, we'll see what happens.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy. And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
So yeah, we play as Stanley, and basically, we're on this very strange journey.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
There's so many secrets throughout this experience, throughout this game. I don't remember which ones are which. Like, I don't remember how to achieve all the endings. I don't even remember if I managed to achieve all the endings. I definitely played this a hell of a lot.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
I'm gonna follow the instructions of the narrator for now, for this first playthrough. Because the game is actually, if you think of the game as just being getting to the ending of the game,
there was not a single person here either.
the game's actually very short.
Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there. Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track.
I'll continue.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Yeah, so there's so many different ways you can play this game. You can either follow the instructions of the narrator entirely, like I'm doing now. You can disobey every instruction, or you can do the most random side stuff. If you want. You can play whatever way you want, really.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this, what dark secret was being held from him. What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this.
If you don't type it in straight away, The narrator does get pretty annoyed with you. Yeah. Alright. I thought it was actually over here for some reason. But
Stanley
yeah.
just sat around twiddling his thumbs.
2,
Trying to input
8,
anything on the device was
4,
useless, since
5.
he could never yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
Oh, yeah, it's over here. Whoa. Yeah, to start with, it's like this meta as hell story. And it has like a proper arc
Into the building,
and everything.
Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now?
It's such a
when for
strange
years it had never occurred to him.
juxtaposition.
This question would not go unanswered for long.
Because like Stanley is feeling like he's of free will for the first time because he's not doing his number job
Stanley
anymore.
walked straight ahead through the large door that
But he's
read
still following
Mind
instructions.
Control Facility.
It's like escape. Mind control facility. Yeah, despite being the most free he's ever felt, he's still just like following orders, following instructions.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
There's a very specific ending that involves going back and forth between these little gates, because they close behind you when you like walk through. A lot of these gates will just like close behind you,
Now
like that.
the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
Where freedom meant nothing.
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe.
Employee
it could
fired.
Be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly?
Where is us? There we are. I can't like zoom in or anything, but employee 427, and that's Stanley's office. I love that sort of continuity, if you will.
No, he refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never! It was unthinkable, wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world?
Yeah. He was just
Was
pressing
proof,
buttons.
the heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy, or sad, or content. Walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
Yeah. Mind controls idle, awaiting input. System power, on or off? We like, off. Disable it.
Blackness and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over? Yes. He had won. He had defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on
like,
how many puzzles
how did I
still
get
lay
here?
unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber,
you can see the birds
he realized
and stuff.
none of this mattered to him. For it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No
Only
longer would
HDR
anyone
lighting.
tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door.
Yeah.
Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation,
Oh
the
dear.
immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
Yeah. So, that's like the original ending. That's the good guy ending, the way the narrator wanted it to go. But we get returned here again. Instead of just like going to the menu or something, the game returns you to here. So essentially, you can continue to do...
How wonderful. Stanley was alone. Finally. This is great, he thought to himself. This is what I've wanted all along. I got what I wanted. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Yeah, so the very first line, I think, mixes up every time. But I remember there's a thing, if you... No? Okay, maybe it's just an achievement. I definitely know there's a thing if you press that door 5 times. So, sometimes, certain times when you load the game, yeah, these computers will have different... Yeah, how does this work? You can, like, interact with some of the computers? Yeah, sometimes little things change in the office, like, there's a way you can get on top of this desk and, like, hop out the window. You can't jump. The jump function's, like, disabled in this, but there's a way you can, like, line things up so you can walk on top of one of the desks back at the start, and you can, like, escape out the window. Let's just do the
When Stanley
reverse
came
of what
to a
the
set of
narrator
two open
wants.
doors, he entered the door on his left.
So let's go to the door on our right.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Yeah.
Yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room. Stanley simply stood here, drinking it all in. Yes, really, really worth it being here in the room. A room so utterly captivating that even though all your co-workers have mysteriously vanished, here you sit looking at these chairs and some paintings. Really worth it.
Oh, hell yeah. Alright, well, let's just move
At
on.
this point, but eager to get back to business,
Damn it.
Stanley took the first open door on his left.
First open door on his left. Nah.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't 5 years ago.
Warning, do not jump from the cargo lift while it's in motion. Will cause death. Penalty for misuse of cargo lift, $1,000. Penalty for jumping off the cargo lift, $5,000. You can't just jump to your death.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone
it's so
else
tempting
is
to go another
difficult, but the
split
fact
path.
is that the story has been about nothing but
Screw it.
you. What? Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for
Oh my
others?
God.
Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? Why, I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Look, let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side. Give me a chance.
Alright.
Now listen carefully, this is important. Stanley walked through the red door.
This is great. I love this.
Aha, perhaps you misunderstood. Stanley walked through the red door.
The red door.
I still don't think we're communicating properly. Stanley walked through the red door. All right, fine, go ahead, Stanley.
Oh
you want to know so badly what's out there? You want to find out what lies at the end of this road you've chosen? Well, don't let me stop you.
I love it. I love it so much.
See, there's nothing here. I haven't even finished building this section of the map because you were never supposed to be here in the first place. Broken rooms, exposed developer textures. Is this what you had wanted? Was it worth ruining the entire story I had written out specifically for you? Do you not think I put a lot of time into that? Because I did. And in the end, it was all for nothing. Because this is what you wanted to see. Help me here, Stanley. Help elucidate these strange and unknowable desires of yours. What would have made this game better? What did you want to see? Vehicles? Skill trees? Work with me. You've given me absolutely nothing so far. Tell you what. Let me take a stab in the dark at a new design, and you can give me some feedback.
Yeah,
There
you
we
got
go.
this little rabbit hole.
Third option. This already feels leaps ahead of where we were before. Go ahead, Stanley. Take it for a spin. Okay, I'm going to stop you there. Now, tell me about your experience with this new version. Would you say that the game benefited from allowing you more choices?
I have a
Feel
feeling
free
that's what...
to be honest. I'm looking for some real critical feedback here.
Yeah, I think if you, doesn't matter which door you take, they all lead to this, I think.
A one? I mean, I can understand if you had reservations, you saw ways the game could be improved to more fully express itself mechanically and artistically, but a one? That's not even helpful. What am I supposed to do with that? But I guess it isn't my place to judge. Here, based on the data from your previous playthrough, I've compiled a new version. And to be perfectly candid, I think I've knocked it out of the park with this one. Let's take a look.
The Stanley Parable Worldwide Leaderboard. Is he going to show me something? Yeah, here we go. All the doors opened. Steps taken. 21.3% of players skipped the intro sequence. Only the worst 3% of players chose the blue door. This is how long it's taking you. Yeah, that's great. Well, I'll go through this door this time.
Now, would you say that competitive leaderboard helped you feel motivated to keep walking through doors? Again, honest answers, please. Hey, I nearly forgot. I've got a prototype of a new game I've been
Doesn't
working
matter what
on,
you choose.
and now would be a lovely opportunity to give it some play testing. You wouldn't mind taking a look at it, would you?
He might say something special
Let
if
me
you
boot
choose
it up.
5, but... Yeah, this is a silly game. This is the game that
In this
people
game,
know.
The baby crawls left towards danger. You click the button to move him back to the right, and if he reaches the fire, you fail.
Yeah.
It's a very meaningful game, all about the desperation and tedium of endlessly confronting the demands of family life. I think the art world will really take notice. But of course, the message of the game only becomes clear once you've been playing it for about 4 hours. So why don't you give it 4 hours of play to make sure it's effective? Be sure to keep notes on your experience.
Yeah. You have to keep pressing it constantly. Every time you press it, there's a loud... And what's nuts is that this actually does go on for 4 hours. And after 1 or 2 hours, I don't remember how long, another mechanic pops up, basically to make sure that you're not just... Because you can just keep pressing it like this. You can just keep doing this. But after like an hour or something of doing it, another thing pops up, which pops up like over there, towards the front. And you have to press that, and then run back, press that, and then run forward, press that, and run back and forth constantly. I'm just gonna let him die. I've never been nuts enough to actually do that.
Bastard. Did you do it because you hate babies or purely to spite me? Because if it's the latter, well, I don't know what to do. I'm completely out of ideas. I can't think of a single thing that might improve the experience for me. I'm not even going to try. I'm out. I'm done. It's over. Thank you for playing. Your input was extremely valuable. Oh, hey, since my game was so awful, why don't we play someone else's game?
Oh, that's right.
Pain. Let's see. What do we have here?
I forgot this part.
Yes. This seems like it'll work. Let's give it a shot.
Yeah.
Well, Stanley, is this any better?
You can't
At
jump,
last,
so
the
you
one
can't
thing you've always desired,
actually explore.
A game I had absolutely nothing to do with. But is it enough? Tell me that, Stanley. Will it ever be enough? Well, I'll say this. I'm done making things for you. From now on, I will only create to fulfill a greater artistic purpose. Watch this, Stanley. I'm going to build a house.
It even uses all the sound effects and everything.
Will go here, no, here, and then. Let's see, what does it need? Yes, of course, and just to finish it all off, yes, it's complete. I made this, Stanley. Look at it. Gaze upon my work of art and feel ashamed at your own inadequacy. But you've only seen it from the outside.
God.
You've only gotten half the experience. Please, step inside and make yourself comfortable.
Why, thank
Isn't
you.
it grand? Isn't it perfect? It could only be better if... Wait, that's it. We must rebuild it out of diamond. Diamond everything. Yes. Come along, Stanley. We have to go mining.
Yeah. Opens it up and, like, makes a little pathway towards a little hole. That's right, yep. Here we go.
Oh my, it looks like it's going to get a bit dark. Have you brought a light?
Nope. Just go deep down into this
No. This
cave.
is far more open-ended than I had in mind. I'm looking for something more narrow and linear. Something that makes you feel utterly irrelevant. This won't do at all. 1 out of 5. Even the
I heard a spider
couldn't save
noise.
This one. Okay, new game.
Yeah, so we, like, jump between these different games.
Yes! I don't even know what this game is, but I love
Because you start in,
it.
like, a prison.
You, trapped in a glass box with no way out, listening to me talk. Oh, it's inspired. I couldn't have done it any better myself. What is this game even supposed to be? I can't figure it out. Okay, now I'm curious. Let's go find out what the hell this is.
Yeah. So yeah, it's Portal but without the portals.
Oh, it's a puzzle. Critical thinking, Stanley. Your forte.
I don't know why the
Genius.
sounds are the wrong way round.
No, actually, you know what? I think that's plenty. I really don't care much to see you stumble.
Yeah. Yeah, you hop down here. I didn't let him finish his dialogue, but yeah, you stumble down here and there's like this abandoned bit of test. This is actually very much like the original mod. There's a scene in the original mod, the original Stanley Parable, which is just like this, where you ended up in a dark void kind of world that was just like a pit. Yeah, this is it. This looks just like it. Where you were just in like a dark corridor. And there were rooms and stuff, but there was nothing to actually do in it. It was just in a dark, lightless rooms. Lightless set of rooms. I don't remember if there's a goal in this version. It's kind of spooky. But this is actually... I feel like this is the original Stanley Parable mod. This is like... This isn't what the part that I'm thinking of in the original mod. This is actually the original mod. These are the corridors from the original Stanley Parable. And this is employee number 427's room. So, oh, it just ended.
I wonder what he found. If what he wanted was to be the leading man in his own story, well, perhaps he's gotten it. Down in wherever he is right now. I wonder if he's happy with his choice, and if he's learned the heavy cost that comes with it. He'll understand soon what I was trying to tell him. He needs me. Someone who will wrap everything up at the end, to make sense out of the chaos and the fear and the confusion. That's who I am. That is what I mean to this world. Oh, yes. Yes, I'll be back. There's no other way. Once this ends, after it all comes to a close, then I'll be back. The end will be here soon. Very soon. I can wait.
There we go. So that was basically us, at least as much as I could, you know, intentionally defying the narrator.
Just a step through this door, Stanley thought to himself. That's all I need.
The end is never the end.
If I
There's
can
never
make
the
it
end.
through
There's never
this
the
door,
end.
I can make it through them all.
God. There we go. If you input this 5 times, if you every time return to one of these computers and input this, something special happens. I don't remember what it is.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
I want to do one more ending before we end today. I had 2 thoughts in my head, which ones I want to do. I'm gonna go for the one where I make the narrator feel really bad.
This was not the correct way
I,
to
like,
the meeting room, and Stanley
spiral
knew it
the
perfectly
narrator
well.
into depression.
Perhaps he wanted to stop by took the first open door on his left.
I won't go that way. I'll keep going through to here.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
I think it's the same way that I went
Stanley,
last
I think
time.
perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong
I have to
foot
jump
here.
off here.
I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not.
I mean, I can just jump to my
realize that
death
investing
here.
in your trust
That
in
works
someone
too.
else can be difficult,
If I
but
quick
the
save
fact
it.
is that the story has been about nothing. But in his eagerness to prove that he is in control of the story and no one gets to tell him what to do, Stanley leapt from the platform and plunged to his death. Good job, Stanley. Everyone thinks you are very powerful.
I turned this on specifically so I could do this kind of thing.
Is that the story has been
But yeah, let's hop down here.
Really?
Normally you're not allowed to
Consideration for
quick
others?
save and quick
Are you
load, but I
that
turned it on
convinced that I
in the
want
menu.
something bad to happen to you? Now listen carefully, this is important. Stanley walked through the red door.
If you actually do what he says here,
Oh, thank God you are willing to listen to me. Do you see that I really have wanted you to be happy all this time? The problem is all these choices. The 2 of us always trying to get somewhere that isn't here. Running and running and running.
This is
just
an
the way you're
endless
doing
loop
right
circle.
now. Don't you see that it's killing us, Stanley? I want it to stop. We would both be so much happier if we just stopped. And I think I have a solution. Here, let me show you.
once, it doesn't matter how frequently, it's the same door. This is a hallway that's mirrored. It's got a endless loop portal going on there.
What do we want? What are we looking for?
Is this the one I think it is? Yeah.
Here. Yes. Oh, it's beautiful, isn't it?
Door
If
behind
we
me
just stay
disappeared.
right here, right in this moment with this place, Stanley, I think I feel happy. I actually feel happy.
Yeah. And you can just like stand here forever and everything's good. Everything's peaceful. But then also...
No, wait. Where are you going?
Where are you going? Wait, if I just go back straight away.
Right. Where were we?
Where are we? All the like particle effects, beautiful, weird space-like space.
Oh no. Stay away from those stairs. If you hurt yourself, if you die, the game will reset. We'll lose all of this.
We'll go back to the room again, because I'm pretty sure every time you return, he says a new thing.
Good, good. We can't be too safe. Promise me you won't go back there. Just stay here.
Space.
No! What do we talk about? You're risking everything we achieved here.
You could basically do this endlessly, and he'll keep coming
You
up with...
heard me before, didn't you? You will die! What about this isn't getting through to you? Please, no, Stanley, let me stay here. Don't take this from me.
This is messed up.
No!
Like break your legs.
God, you lived. You had me worried there for a moment.
I'm gonna go back to the other
Can
room.
we please get back to the other room?
There's so many, like, it's so taunting.
There. See? This is what you want. This is where we can both be happy. We really can. If we stop moving, we just have to stop moving.
No.
Stanley, go back. There's nothing good that can come from this.
You just, like, put him in serious, like, depressive
No.
mode.
No, what do you just not believe me? What can I say to convince you?
Well, goodbye.
Stanley, let's go back to the other room. Can you do that? My God. Is this really how much you dislike my game? That you'll throw yourself from this platform over and over to be rid of it? You are literally willing to kill yourself to keep me from being happy. Am I reading the situation correctly?
Just keep throwing yourself off this.
Maybe you're just getting a kick out of it. I don't know anymore.
Oh, yeah.
I just wanted us to get along. But I guess that was too much to ask. It looks like you wanted to make a choice after all. Well, this one is yours.
I honestly feel really sad. It's tempting to go back to the room again just to make him happy for a brief moment, but no.
Is it over? It's going to restart, isn't it? I'm going back.
Oh. And it repeats. It's like Groundhog Day, but the narrator is somewhat aware of the effects of the Groundhog Day. It's not just us. But whatever the case, I'm going to leave that there. There is so much more. There is so much more to see in this game. And there's like a special room filled with concepts and stuff that they had planned to include in the game, but for whatever reason wasn't included. Some things that were just like ideas, some things that were just concepts, and some things that were almost included but then cut at the last minute sort of thing. And I'm keen to go back to that room, but I forget how to get there. I'll have to look it up. But yeah, let me know if you want to see more of it down below. Otherwise, I'll leave this here. If you like what you saw, hit like. If you want to see more from me, then subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and as always,